check, 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 check.
Good morning. Good morning. It's so great to see all of you today. Welcome to the 10th annual Gocaps Mission Innovation event. We're so glad to have you all today. So a decade ago, we planted a small seed with 15 students, 2 strands, and today that seed has grown into a flourishing ecosystem. We have 60 students across 4 distinct specialized pathways that directly connect the economic drivers of Southwest Missouri. So what you'll witness today represents more than just student projects. You'll see the culmination of a powerful partnership between education and industry, a bridge that we've carefully constructed between classroom learning and real-world experiences. So our Gocaps students that are with us today, they've spent the last year immersed in professional environments. They've been tackling genuine challenges, and they've been developing solutions that mattered and that are being used by our business partners in our communities today. They've moved beyond textbooks and tests to embrace the very unpredictable nature of innovation and entrepreneurship. Through our embedded classrooms, which is where, as you know, your students have been meeting on a daily basis, and these classrooms are at Cox-Monette Hospital, Jack Henry, the Barry Lawrence County Ambulance District, the Monette Historical Museum, and the University of Missouri Southwest Research Extension and Education Center, has allowed our students to experience firsthand what it actually means to think critically, to collaborate effectively, and to deliver results that have an impact. It truly takes an out-of-the-box, unique instructor to be able to really drive the experiences. And so I want to make sure to recognize our team of instructors. Your students are in very good hands. And these educators, I would say, are at the top of their field professionally, both in education and in industry. So Mrs. Teresa Huntress leads our agribusiness and food system strand, and she'll be here this afternoon. I don't think she's out here. Mr. Bill Whitman in the back leads our global business and entrepreneurism strand. Mr. Garrison Ernest directs medicine and healthcare and our newly launched EMT, Healthcare Emergency Services strand. And Mrs. Peg Winfrey guides our teacher education strand. We're also deeply grateful for the many business partners that do all kinds of things for our students. They open their doors, they share their expertise, and they invest their time mentoring and guiding our next generation of professionals. So today's showcase highlights the capstone projects that these students have been working on that they pursued with passion and purpose. Each project addresses a real need. They create genuine value, and they've demonstrated the professional capabilities that these young innovators have developed. I think you'll be very impressed with the impact that they've had. So afterwards, I invite you, if you're able to stay, engage, ask them questions, get to know the work that they've done. The biggest challenge was really creating several months of work into a 4 to 7 minute presentation for you all. So that in and of itself was a really great feat of innovation that they had to do. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ernest. He's going to introduce our capstone projects and tell you a little bit more about what you're about to experience.
Good morning. My name is Garrison Ernest, and I am the instructor for our medicine and healthcare strand. And so along with our other instructors as strand leaders, we've had the privilege to guide our remarkable students through a transformative journey this year. Our approach to education in Gocaps is unique. We are not confined by textbooks in a traditional classroom setting. Instead, our students have been immersed in professional environments where they've developed critical workplace skills through hands-on experiences. A few examples of the things that they have learned: professional communications and networking, problem solving in real-time situations, collaborative teamwork across disciplines, project management from concept to completion, and perhaps most importantly is how to transform an idea into action. The capstone projects that you will see today represent the pinnacle of this learning approach. Last fall, we challenged our students to identify and pursue a project that would showcase their growth and allow them to make a meaningful contribution. We established 4 key requirements for these capstone projects. First, each project must stem from personal passion. We believe that innovation thrives when driven by genuine interest and enthusiasm. Students were asked to identify areas where their curiosity and talents intersect in real-world needs. Secondly, each project must create value by addressing a specific need for a business, organization, or the community. This ensures that students understand that innovation isn't just about creating something new, but it's about creating something that is meaningful and useful. Third, each project must deliver a tangible, measurable results. Our students have defined their own clear objectives and metrics for success, and teaching them the importance of accountability and outcome-focused work. And lastly, each student has worked with a community mentor throughout their project. This mentoring relationship has provided professional guidance while connecting students to networks and resources beyond our classroom. What you're going to witness today is the culmination of months of research, planning, development, and refinement. These projects represent not just academic achievement, but professional growth and community impact. After our formal presentations, as Ms. Merriman said, we'd like to invite you to the lobby and find our students at their project board, where we would like to ask you to ask about their challenges and their outcomes that they got through this project. We'd also like for you to ask them about what they've learned about themselves and other career fields during their time with us. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our first student presenter.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jaden Apostle. I'm a senior at Monat High School, a first year in the medicine and healthcare strand of Gocaps, and this is my capstone project, an athletic trainer curriculum for high school students. I would first just like to begin by thanking my mentors, Rob Azelton, for providing data as well as helping me make connections to individuals who really drove this presentation forward, as well as Kelly George, who gave me a coach's perspective and actually helped me develop this curriculum. As a high school student, I am very involved in sports. In the fall, I'm a swimmer. In the winter, I play basketball, and currently in the spring, I'm in track and field. Doing three sports, I am prone to injury, and so I've met with Rob several times in the past few years. Being exposed to capstones back in the fall, I knew my presentation had to pertain to the medical field, so I knew that Rob was a perfect person to work with because he combined two of my passions, medicine and sports. When meeting with Rob, he provided me with the following data. He told me that ankles and wrists were the most common injuries. He also told me that on average, he sees around 5 to 10 athletes on practice days for the purpose of taping. This number then shoots up to 20 to 30 athletes on game days. He told me that fall was the busiest season, and it took around 30 to 45 minutes to tape football athletes. This number then dropped down to 20 to 30 minutes for basketball, and it finally settles at 10 to 20 minutes in the spring for girls soccer. With data provided by Rob, as well as my own research, I developed the following problem statement. The current athletic trainer to student ratio creates a significant time deficit for injury prevention taping procedures. With this in mind, I presented it to Coach George to get her perspective on it. And with her help, I developed a 5-day health class curriculum, which not only teaches students how to tape ankles and wrists, but understand why they do this, as well as get some information about this career. The first day consists of the introduction of the athletic trainer, most likely Rob, and he will also provide some background information about him and his career. He will then demonstrate the proper technique to tape an ankle as well as a wrist, and he will conclude the class by teaching them when and why to tape ankles or wrists. The second day is whenever hands-on learning actually occurs. Rob will reobserve how to tape a wrist, and then the students will work together to actually practice this on one another. We decided to split up the ankle into 2 days due to its complexity. On this day, Rob will go through the first 2 steps, which consists of the preparation, the pre-wrap, as well as the anchor strips, which you can see go towards the lower shin area. Similar to the day before, students will pair up and practice once again. Day 4, he demonstrates the last 2 steps. The last 2 steps consist of stabilization as well as the cleanup. This means the stirrup strips as well as the heel lock to ensure that there's little to no mobility of the ankle. This is the last day for students to practice their skills, because the 5th day is purely for the exam. Rob and Coach George will work together to conduct this exam to ensure that each and every student can tape properly and effectively. I did this project for 2 reasons. 1, I wanted to implement an athletic trainer aid so Rob could work more effectively in his office and ensure that athletes had little to no time that they were missing for practice and or games. I also wanted to bring awareness to this career because there's a lack of athletic trainers in our area, so if they knew about this, then maybe they would want to pursue it. After completing my project, I came in contact with Kevin Norris, the director of athletic trainers in our area, and he exposed me to some information published by the National Athletic Trainers Association. This stated that athletic trainers, not aides, are the appropriate individuals to be providing athletic trainer services. So you may be wondering, what lies ahead for Monett High School health classes? As of now, due to the fogginess of what athletic trainer services actually consist of, Monett High School has decided to withdraw from my project. But if and when they are ready, the curriculum is there at their disposal. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zoe Lynn. I'm a junior at Monett in the Teachers Education strand of Gocaps, and today I'm going to be talking about my capstone in indoor tennis court. I've been a part of the Monett tennis team for 3 years, and the season tends to go by fairly quickly. This because there's we have to get through all of the matches and tournaments while it's still warm outside, and once the season is in full stride, we often only have around 2 or 3 practices a week. Due to our busy schedule, one rainy day could set us back a lot. This leads me to my problem statement that bad weather conditions lead to less practice time. In the process, I started with research. I found that most flooring can work well for a tennis court, and that a tennis court is 78 feet by 36 feet. So I had my eyes set on the lower EE Camp gym. That is by the intermediate school, and so I talked to the principal of the intermediate school, Miss Jennifer Wallace, and she told me they currently use that gym for indoor recess, and if I could find a portable net to use, then they would be able to move it to the side whenever they needed to use that gym so that the students wouldn't touch it. This is the gym. I went and measured it and found that it was 67 feet by 65 feet by 57 feet, and was therefore 13 feet too short. I also talked to Ty Gates and my coach, Jason Smith, and Ty Gates told me that for lines, I could either use paint or tape, and Jason Smith also provided me with the knowledge that we already have 2 portable nets available to us. So then I went to find some good practice drills that we can use for a short court. And there are things like starting close to the net with a partner and focusing on your control and placement. You can set targets to aim for from the baseline, and you can play out short court games and improve your reaction time. I then went and found good quality paint that was on olympicpaintusa.com, and it cost about $80. And a durable tape was about $55 on Amazon, so that was available, whichever one could be used. The benefits of having this gym would be weather protection. It would provide a consistent temperature through rain, snow, or any other extreme temperatures, weather, and it would provide more space for the team. Back in 2021, there were only 9 girls on the tennis team, and just last year in 2024, there were almost 30. So this would be utilized as extra space when other courts were already full. It would also be available year-round, and it would make it easier to maintain ability and skill for the team year-round. My end goal is to have one of the nets put in the lower EE Camp gym and have lines, whether with paint or tape, put in as well. With this, I hope to see improvement from our boys and girls team. I have not yet gotten official approval for the lines, but after seeking approval, I plan to put my project into action, and I can't wait to see how the courts improve the potential of our current and future tennis team. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emma Hunt, and I'm a junior at the Pierce City High School, and this is my first year in the Medicine and Healthcare strand of Gocaps, and this is my project, Track and Field Injury Prevention. Like I said, my name is Emma, and I love to run. I love everything about it, whether it's the training, watching, in person, or on the TV, much to my mom's dismay, or competing with all of my friends. I ran my first 5K when I was about 6 years old, and I have been training competitively for about 4 to 5 years now, where I met some of my closest friends, including my very best friend. But we all trained scared of injury. Someone is always sidelined, and that's no fun for anyone. So I created this project, Track and Field Injury Prevention. So we have 3 main problems with this. One is the shortage of athletic trainers in the area, which leads to limited resources for both athletes and coaches, as well as having a coach's knowledge gap. A lot of coaches are experts in one area, but might not be experts in another area. Like my coach, he's primarily a football coach, but he knows everything there is to know about jumpers and sprinters. However, he doesn't know absolutely everything about distance running. So my goals with this project are to help the coaches understand the entire injury landscape, because track and field is such a diverse sport, as well as offer resources for both coaches and athletes to help them prevent injuries. Before I get into that, I would like to thank my business partner, John Blackburn. When I was a freshman, I started running cross country with his daughter, and he helped me with one of my very first injuries because, like I said, we have a little shortage of athletic trainers in the area. Since then, I started shadowing in Gocaps with John, where he has not only inspired me to start this project, but also to become a physical therapist just like him. I would like to thank some of my additional mentors, one of them being my father, Jason Hunt, who helped me put together the survey and some of the injuries on that. And I'd like to thank Mason Swearingen, who helped me and John just have a second opinion on both the survey, the results, and the packets that we sent out. So you might be wondering, Emma, what did you do? None of this makes sense yet. So what I did was I started out and I sent a survey out to about 20 of the area's coaches, asking to give me the top 3 injuries for all of these following groups for their athletes: long distance, mid distance, sprinters, throwers, jumpers, and hurdlers. And they got back with me, and I put together an individualized training plan for each of these disciplines with about 5 to 6 stretches for each to help prevent all the injuries that they got back with me. So let's get into it. The first discipline I had was long distance and cross country, which the most common injury was very obviously shin splints, which is when the front part of your leg hurts and it kind of makes it feel like the bone is breaking, although it's just the two muscles on the side. So for that, we have the anterior tibialis stretch to kind of stretch out those muscles and loosen it up so they don't have so much pain, since shin splints is such a common injury and it really sidelines a lot of people. Next, we have our mid-distance, which is a 3,200-meter run to an 800-meter run, which is about 2 miles to a half mile. The most common injury we had there is runner's knee and knee pain, which is caused by the quad tightening and going underneath that kneecap, or it can be the IT band on the side of your leg tightening up and just pulling until it's uncomfortable. So what we decided to do was put in the IT band stretch to kind of stretch the side of that out and kind of loosen that up so it is a little less uncomfortable for them. Next, we have our short distance, which is our 400-meter run to our 100-meter run, which is a full lap around the track or just one stretch. And the most common injury they had was shin splints, but another very common one was our quad injury. So that's just pain on this big muscle in the front because they start and stop so hard and so fast that they just take so much pounding there. So we just have our normal little quad stretch to kind of prevent that from happening and kind of keep them as healthy and in for as long as possible. Next, we have our jumpers, which is our long jump, triple jump, pole vault, and high jump. And the most common injury they have is their back injuries. They just take so much pounding from landing so hard and landing on the ground that it's almost impossible to keep that from hurting. So what we have is the double knee to chest stretch, which I won't get on the ground and show you, but it kind of rounds out the muscles in your back to keep those loose, as well as you can roll side to side to kind of massage out any knots that you might have. Next, we have our throwers, which is shot put, discus, and javelin, which is by far our most diverse survey results, which the most common being the lower back strains, but the second one we have is our elbow tendinitis, which is just inflammation in the tendons or elbows. So we have the wrist purse stretch and the reverse wrist purse stretch, kind of just to try and loosen this up. And since we had so much diversity in this one, we tried to get stretches in that would cover both or two different types of injuries. So this wrist purse stretch and reverse wrist purse stretch helps wrist injuries and elbow tendinitis. Lastly, we have our hurdlers, which is our 100-meter hurdles to our 300-meter hurdles. And this one wasn't very diverse. We just had our hamstring strains, which is just your normal little hamstring stretch, but make sure it's elevated just so you can get a deeper stretch, which is this muscle on the back of your thigh. You get pulled, strained, tore, and it's really hard to get it to go away. It's such a nagging injury. So by using this hamstring stretch, we're just trying to keep them healthy. So for my results, I have each discipline gets about 5 to 6 stretches, just like this. This is actually my jumpers survey or results. And so what we have is online. I sent out a link to all of the coaches, and I said, here you go. Here's this link, and you can put in these access codes based on the different types of injuries. Like there's an access code for distance, there's an access code for sprints, whatever. Because multiple athletes might be in multiple disciplines. Like a lot of sprinters are also jumpers, right? So they may need to use both. So we have it online, easily accessible. You tap the link, put in the access code, scroll down, and you have all of these stretches that have videos and explanations of how long you should hold it for, how many you should do, all of that. And so I sent that out to the coaches, and I said, here, use this. For the application, it has been so cool to go to track meets and have coaches come up to me and be like, hey, thanks so much. This helped me not only understand how to take care of the injuries, but what injuries are out there. And it's been super cool to even see some of the coaches and athletes using my training plan while I'm at the meet. So overall, this has been such a fun project, and I'm so grateful to Gocaps that I've been able to do this. I hope I can help as many athletes and keep them in for as long as possible. Just thank you.
Good morning, my name is Owen Lehman. I am a senior at Mount Vernon High School, and this is my capstone, Needs Lockers. But before I get started, I want to give a very special thanks to Mr. Killingsworth, my mentor. He started this project and helped me out with a lot. I also want to thank Ms. Powers from Aurora High School for being my first audience and the first classroom to invite me into their school. So needs lockers, filling needs, fueling futures. I plan to give the blueprint so kids and students can help out their communities. Now let's talk a little bit about the life before the lockers. Mount Vernon NHS noticed students who needed help wouldn't go to other food banks or organizations run by adults or professionals for varying reasons, like guilt, inaccessibility, or just being young. If you're young, you don't want to have to go out and make your own decisions that could change your life, and I get that. So I believe students should be able to get help and hygiene products whenever they need it, when they need it, without jumping through various hoops. In these lockers, we have snack items, meal replacements, and we also have hygiene products, because there is no love like a locker. And these kids can take them at any time throughout the day, whenever they need, when they need. Now let's talk a little bit about a locker's location. That's extremely important. Needs lockers are at their best when placed in open hallways with lots of foot traffic. This is so kids get used to seeing them, and they get used to seeing students use them, so there's no fear of being judged for using them. This also allows them to stop whenever they want throughout the day because they're open and accessible. And they should also be near cameras because this will persuade others not to misuse them. So far, we've only had a couple small cases of misuse. Those have been handled by our administrative staff, and they've been handled by the programs that run them. Now let's talk a little bit about the timeline, where we started and where we're at now. We started off as Mount Vernon NHS working as volunteers for a holiday central food drive. This led us to my mentor, Mr. Killingsworth, starting a small food closet in his classroom. But as we all know, COVID really ruined everything, and people needed help more than effort. So a demand for a larger outreach was created, and agreements with local food banks and churches within Mount Vernon led us to pitch the idea to use unused lockers, because at my high school, we switched to bags only to reduce clutter in the hallways. So we had, 400 empty lockers. So we decided, hey, let's use them for something, and that's how we got here. And we put one into every single hall within our school. My school is shaped like a square. We have the 100, 200, 300, and 400 hallway. We have one locker within each one of those hallways. And right now, I'm trying to expand Needs Lockers' horizons to other schools within my district, and my job personally is to try to expand that to other schools. Now, let's talk about how we've branched. Like I said, we have 4 hallways within my high school, and at the start of 2025, we marked Needs Lockers at 3 years running, which is a big deal to us, because at first we didn't know if this would be a temporary thing, but right now we're hoping to keep this going as long as Mount Vernon and other schools stand. We have plans to expand to other schools, and right now I've met with Aurora High School and Ms. Powers, my first audience, and their JAG class. What they're holding is my preposition poster. It has a little bit of detail, and it has my contact information. I spoke with them, and right now we have plans to make another presentation for the Aurora School Board and get lockers up and running in there. But having ideas and goals is amazing, but how do you actually run them? Needs lockers take $300 to $500 bi-weekly to run, and we supplement this cost, not upfront, but we use food banks, small sponsors, and activities to fund this. We also use vacant lockers provided by the schools. But you need more than just money to run the lockers. You need manpower. So we use Jobs After Graduation, Stuco, and National Honor Society. I recommend those 3 programs if they're at a high school to run it, but it could take as simple as 8 people going, hey, I want to make a difference, and they get a teacher's permission, and they open up a locker right then and there. I also believe that any existing food pantry could run this system, but if you have people to run the lockers, you need people to be trained. They have to be able to handle the food. They have to be able to be responsible enough to keep it going, and that's why I believe that it is a very community-based and effort-based program. If you're interested in starting a Needs Lockers program at your own school, or you have any questions or anything like that, my contact is up here. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Rosie Hess. I am a senior at Monette High School, and this is my second year in the teacher education strand of Gocaps. My capstone is what is BIST? Does consistent BIST use of BIST really work? Before I get into all this information, I would like to thank my mentors, Brandy Hess and Miranda Henson, for being able to give me this information so I can come out here and present this to you. I will be going over what is BIST, what does it do, what is the science behind BIST, and why does it work, does BIST really work, and the success story of a student that BIST helped. So, what exactly is BIST and what does it do? BIST stands for Behavior Interventional Support Team. They strive to increase teaching time for students in class, decrease disruptive behavior both in class and at home. They also support building and district leaders for growing schools to give consistent care for children. Then they also support families to increase predictability in the parenting process. What exactly does BIST do? BIST strives to make an environment where students can learn appropriate and the difference between appropriate and non-appropriate behaviors both in school and at home, so that students can thrive both academically and socially. Now, what is the science behind BIST and why exactly does it work? Teamwork is a big part in BIST. BIST has all the staff from a school district come together and work, from teachers to even sometimes parents. They all work together and support a student in some kind of way. Another big part is using data. BIST teams track how well their strategies work by collecting data of student behavior, then make adjustments when they need to. BIST also teaches new skills. They teach students new ways to handle situations and emotions. BIST also works on understanding behavior. So BIST teams study why students act a certain way by looking at what happens before and after a behavior. This helps them identify why the behavior is going on and how to address it in the future. BIST also encourages positive behavior. So instead of punishing a student for acting out, they focus on rewarding students for good behavior. For example, at the intermediate school, students have this little card called a cub card. When they're good, they get a teacher's signature in a small little box, and once the entire front part is filled out, that will allow them to go on their quarterly field trip. On the back, they have rows called bonus rows. For every row they fill out, they'll get a prize, whether it's a hat and hoodie day, a popsicle at lunch, or sometimes even a soda. Now, does BIST really work? BIST focuses on 3 main skills. I can make good choices even when I'm not okay. I can be okay when others are not okay. And I can do something even if I don't want to. Up here, I have a timeline from a student that BIST helped. From August through November, they had 15 behaviors. From November through February, they only had 4, and then along with February and March, also had 4. This first skill is all about managing emotions and thinking clearly, even if you are upset and want to yell or disrupt class. This helps kids to stop and think before they act on their impulses. For the second skill, it focuses on maintaining emotional stability and self-control, even if others around you are acting out. So it teaches kids to be okay even if others are mad or upset around them. This last skill is all about pushing through discomfort or reluctance to complete tasks that may not feel fun or are hard. This skill thrives to help students take responsibility and get work done even when they are not motivated to or don't want to. The success story of this student we'll call M. They started off the year with struggling with emotional regulations and acting out. Their behavior often landed them in SSR, which is the student support room at the intermediate school. And it took away a lot of time from their class learning, and sometimes they even got sent home. By the end of the year, they ended up staying in their class longer and go to SSR less. In conclusion, BIST helps really well because students can start off by staying in SSR every single day to going maybe in the middle of the year, going every once in a while, and then the end of the year, going none at all. And I would like to thank my mentors again for giving me the information to do this presentation, as well as all of you for coming out here to listen to my presentation.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name's August Black. I'm a junior here at Monette High School.
And my name is Parker Doss, and I'm also a junior at Monette High School.
And this is our presentation, Creating Safer Bathrooms for Monette High School.
So our motivation was personal experiences. The bathrooms at the time are just plain out unbearable to use, and this is specifically from the cause of vaping. So let me just paint you a story here. Imagine you're a high schooler, you get called out of class to go to the bathroom, and you open the door, and the first thing you're hit with is just a cloud of smoke, just poof! And, you think your vision's blurry, but no, that's just because there's how much smoke, and it's also because of the fact that you can't even see the back wall of the bathroom because of how much smoke there is from the vapes.
So our problem statement. We noticed the bathrooms just aren't being used how they're supposed to be used. There's a number of things going on, but our top three things we kind of saw was, number one was just an increase in vape use. We go in there during class periods, passing periods, and there's usually somebody in there doing something other than going to the bathroom. Number two thing we saw was lingering in the bathroom. Lingering in the bathroom, it creates a bunch of awkward situations. It really makes the bathroom not feel fun to be in. And it's overall just a really bad thing. Number three, and we see a lot of overall misuse. This can be vandalism, destruction. The other day, I saw the front panel of the paper towel dispenser had been ripped off. I'm not 100% sure how you do that with your hands, but they've managed to do it.
So discussing our goals, we would like to decrease any on-campus vaping. We'd also like to spread the negative impacts that vaping has on the human body.
So our plan of action. The first thing we noticed was how terrible the bathrooms were to use. We'd go in there and, like Parker said, you couldn't even see the back wall. So we started research on what other schools did to prevent some of the vaping. And we came across what Republic did. Republic's school resource officer, let me back up. Republic installed vape detectors, so we called their administrative offices. They put us in touch with their school resource officer, Officer Duncan, who told us that they were very successful and they did a lot of good things for the school. So after we figured that, we came to the conclusion vape detectors are what we want to put in the bathrooms. So we did some research on the best types, all the way from the $50 ones on Amazon to the $1,500 ones on anywhere you can find them online. So we figured out a vape detector kind of middle of the road that worked good, and we did some basic calculations and found the price of the units.
So some short-term vaping effects that vaping has is, number one, it has tooth rot. So with the chemicals in vaping, what happens is that the enamel of the tooth, the protective layer on your tooth, eventually becomes dissolved due to the chemicals acting in the vape. And then what happens is that same process then happens to the dentin of the tooth, which is your bone of the tooth. And this results in also dissolving from chemicals in vapes. And we also followed by skin problems to hair loss, and then finally to poor neurological functions of the brain, causing you to inadequately think and just act normally.
So vaping's a relatively new thing, so we're just now starting to see some of the long-term effects that it has. And one of the number one things we're seeing is a shortness of breath. Shortness of breath affects a lot of elderly people, so to have it at such a young age because you were vaping is just a really bad thing to have. And we also have a lot of athletes who can vape, and as you can see, having a shortness of breath being an athlete is maybe the number one thing you don't want to have. Number two thing we're seeing a lot of cancer-causing chemicals within vaping, causing things like popcorn lung, things like that. We're also seeing lung scarring. As you can see in the bottom right, there's an x-ray. The x-ray on the left is an x-ray of healthy lungs, and the x-ray on the right are the lungs of someone who has been vaping for a long time. We're also seeing seizures, which in severe cases can even lead to death.
So we'd like to dive into the statistics. Unfortunately, we were unable to put out any reliable information within the Monette High School, so we went to national data. So in 2024, last year, we saw that 6% of middle school and high school students had used some type of e-cigarette or type of e-vape. This number is approximately equivalent to 2.25 million students. Now this is, however, a decrease from the following year, which was 8%, which is about 2.5 million. So the number is still high, and it's not the number that the FDA is wanting, but we're hopefully just steadily decreasing from year to year.
So a little bit more about our mentor. As I said before, it's Officer Robert Duncan. He's a school resource officer from Republic. And once we talked to him, he taught us a lot about the vape detectors that they had installed. He taught us about how they work. So he would get alerted if the vape detector went off, and then he would go and check the bathroom for the disturbance. He said they had a really high success rate, and they were also installed by federal protection, which means the school didn't have to pay for them or install them.
So just some features. The model that we chose to put up here is the Triton 3D Sense, and some features it has is vape detection, vandalism detection, loitering detection, fight detection, and its most unique feature is keyword detection. So what this means is, for example, if Billy and Kevin get in an argument and Billy says, "Kevin, you better watch out, I have a gun," that keyword of gun is picked up and then sends a silent notification to administrators via app. And also on the plans we'd like to have is we'd like to present this information to the school board and hopefully have these vapes put in effect by next year, the school year of 2025-2026. And finally, eventually, what we'd like to do is we'd like to just end the overall, or not end, but necessarily decrease the on-campus vaping. And if we can get this plan put into effect and have the vape detectors installed in the east and west bathrooms for both boys and girls, we'd like to spread this idea to other school districts across southwest Missouri, because it's not only a problem in Monette, but it's a problem in other school districts.
As Parker said before, we're hoping this information can help decrease vaping in Monette, and we want to get those kids stop vaping in the high school and get them out to other places, because it's unrealistic to say we're going to end vaping around the entire Monette campus. But I think it's the more important thing that we get them outside of the high school and make them go do it in their own time and space. We're hoping that we can get these bathrooms to being bathrooms and not a hideaway for kids doing bad behavior. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jocelyn. I'm a junior at Aurora High School, and this is my first year in the medicine and healthcare strand.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jaden Hall. I'm a junior at Aurora High School, and I'm in the teacher education strand.
before we get started, I would like to thank our mentor, Robin Hancock, for giving us the opportunity to work with her and work in her daycare for this project.
To start off with, hygiene in the daycare is very important. This is because it can help. If you don't have good hygiene, it doesn't ensure the safety of all children, and it can spread harmful germs.
So some common diseases or infections that you will find in a daycare will be like a stomach virus, flu, pink eye, ear infection, and a common cold. So in this graph, it shows how frequent the common illnesses are in a daycare. As you can see, the cold is the most common, with 8 cases per year in a daycare. This happens through kids touching things like toys and other things that are not being disinfected or cleaned after being used. This could also happen with kids coughing or sneezing and not covering their mouth and spreading germs throughout the daycare setting. The next highest one would be like the flu, but this only really rises when flu season takes off, which would be from October through May, which is still a pretty long time.
This photo shows our initial goal. Our initial goal was to hang up hand washing signs throughout the daycare. It also shows a neat and organized hand washing station, which was mainly our goal. They also have tissues and hand sanitizers in reach of children so they can reach them when they need them.
So in the daycare, this is the 3 to 4-year-old room. Their rooms are pretty good, but unfortunately we were not able to reach our goal with getting all the supplies and everything needed because there was a lack of resources and donations. We also did not have the proper things to keep out of children's reach. So for example, we cannot just leave a hand sanitizer bottle out there for children to grab because 1, they would make a mess, or 2, it would just be used inappropriately. Same thing with the 2 to 3-year-old room, same concept. So some of the problems we ran into with was the lack of donations and the lack of resources we had. We reached out to 2 different hospitals. One of them, I was able to meet with a manager there, and I explained to her our problem and our situation and the things that we were needing. And unfortunately, she said that they were not able to make this commitment because of how small their budget was. The second hospital I reached out to, I did not get an answer back from them, unfortunately. I did reach out to another facility, and they offered me things like expired supplies. I said thank you, but I fear that would not be so much help.
So then we formed our problem statement. Our problem statement was that the Monette District Daycare requested help to develop a system to teach kids to wash their hands more efficiently in order to keep surfaces cleaner. These are the photos. Oh my gosh, this is the picture of the hand washing signs we hung up. We hung them up right above the sink, so it does a step-by-step to teach the kids how to wash their hands. And it includes pictures instead of words, so the kids can understand them better. This is photos from when we were teaching the class. For the 3 to 4-year-olds, Jocelyn taught them individually on washing their hands with soap and water, while I taught the group the importance of washing their hands and asked them questions like, do they know how long to wash their hands? When should you wash your hands? And then for the 2 to 3-year-olds, we sat down on the carpet with them and demonstrated how to wash their hands with them and had them do the hand washing signals on the chart with us.
We eventually did get some donations. We got a lot of hand sanitizer. We got hand sanitizer from the Aurora Fire Department. Mr. Ernest also gave us more hand sanitizer. And eventually, Walmart gave us a $50 gift card gift card. And with that, we bought disinfecting wipes and other things that Robin requested that she needed around the daycare.
Our goal was to get as many hand sanitizers and disinfectant wipes as we can. So with our $50 gift card from Walmart, we bought a couple containers of hand disinfecting wipes, and then we got a lot of Germex. Then we also bought a dish drying rack to help reduce the use of towels, so it can help keep the dishes more cleaner.
We eventually got all of these supplies to Robin, and she was very thankful and seemed very pleased with the help that we provided. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Alexis Escobedo. I'm a junior at Monette High School, and this is my first year in the teacher education strand of Gocaps. My project is on academic support in the middle school. Okay, so during my time in Gocaps, I got to spend time in a couple middle school classrooms. I was in a 7th grade math and 7th grade communication arts. During that, I noticed there were some students who were struggling and they were just falling behind. It was also difficult for the teachers to get to give all the students the one-on-one help they needed because of how many students they had in classes. So my original goal was to create a class or an area where students could go to and get that extra help and one-on-one help that they needed. So here is an example of what those a study skills or academic support room would have looked like. It would be an area where the environment was fun for students to be in, and it was encouraging, and the teachers would really be pushing students to be or do good in what they do in their classwork. Another thing would be helping students set and accomplish their goals. A lot of times students are really good at setting the goals, but it's guiding them to accomplish the goals. However, after bringing it up to the middle school principal, he said they already had a pretty good system in place. So he shared with me another idea. Peer tutoring is where students are helping each other complete work. A lot of times for students, it's less intimidating to go to a friend or a classmate to get help rather than going up to a teacher. Students are also, we sent out a survey to the middle school students, and we sort of asked them how their participation in class was, who they go to when they need help, if they feel behind in class, and of course, if they would be interested in peer tutoring. So here are the results from that survey. We had pretty good results from the survey. The top one is asking who they go to when they need help, and most of the students answered that they go to a friend or a classmate. And then the bottom one was, would they like to have peer tutors, and we had about 57.7% of them say that they would. Peer tutoring is something that the middle school principal is going to look into, and if it is something they're going to implement, they're just going to have a couple scheduling things they need to figure out so that the students can have a time to work together. Finally, I would like to thank my mentors, Miss Moore and Miss Williams. I went to them when I was starting out my project, and they helped guide me and gave me good feedback on what they thought about my project. This project has showed me a lot on how peer tutoring could help students and help and be beneficial to students, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasa Ernest, and I am a junior from Aurora High School. And my presentation is focusing on athlete injury prevention and recovery equipment. Sports have been a part of my life since I was 3 years old, and due to recent injuries, I've spent a lot of time in physical therapy, doctor's offices, and with the athletic trainer. This is my motivation to bring more useful injury prevention and recovery equipment to Aurora athletes. So the problem in Aurora is that our athletes don't always have access to the proper equipment during the day. This could be due to time, money, and just the access of it. Some days you'll walk in and there will be 10 to 20 people in the athletic trainer's office, making it hard for us to get to practice on time with exactly what we need. Or some days our trainer will be gone due to personal obligations, and we won't have access to any of the equipment at all. This brings me to my objective to make accessible and comprehensive injury prevention and recovery equipment useful for all athletes all day long. So I started by taking a survey of all the Aurora coaches, and I asked them what the 3 most common injuries they were seeing within their athletes were, and then I asked them what equipment they think would benefit their programs and their student athletes the most. With the bribe of a candy bar, about a week later, I had over 20 results. I was seeing that the top 7 were ankle, shoulder, knee, concussion, arm, shin, and soreness. You can definitely tell that ankle by far has the most between all of the sports in Aurora. So that led me to researching and getting some equipment that would go along with each and every one of those injuries. So I started by researching about Normatec legs, which are leg compression therapy devices that are full leg air compression boots, and it would benefit the ankles, knees, shins, and leg soreness. But I realized that those were really expensive and they wouldn't benefit everything that I possibly could benefit. So I added more equipment to benefit more injuries. I decided to present massage guns, which help with all soreness, Q collars, which helps prevent concussion in your high-impact sports. I then presented the Normatec legs for ankles, shins, knees, and leg soreness, and cupping units to help reduce muscle tension and promote healing, lacrosse balls and foam rollers for more massaging and working out soreness, resistance bands for building more strength, and also ankle, knee, and shoulder braces. I then went and presented the survey and the equipment to our booster club and our athletic director. They absolutely loved my ideas, and they wanted to get as many as they possibly could and put into our school. But they did need me to take inventory over every single sport so that they weren't buying more than they needed, because they figured that we probably had more than what I thought we had. So when I went and took inventory, I learned that basketball, baseball, softball, and cross country have the most equipment, but still not everything on my list. Football, soccer, and wrestling have maybe 1 to 2 items, where track, volleyball, cheer, and tennis have absolutely nothing. By the end of this project, we plan to start with a few, and over the years we'll add more. Eventually, we want to have enough equipment for everyone to have exactly what they need. We're going to be adding a cabinet with a lock in our weight room for our weight room coach, our athletic trainer, and our athletic director to have access to, so that any time during the day, if a kid has a free period or free time in class, they can go in there and get the equipment that they need so that they're not late to practice. As of right now, I am still in contact with the president of the booster club and the athletic director, and we are working on how many of each item we would like to get and what the final cost will be. We're thinking right now that we want to start with a few of each size of the Q collar. We want to start with 1 Normatec legs and eventually add another if it seems to be working well. We're going to add around 1 to 2 more cupping units, 2 more massage guns. We're going to get more foam rollers, and we're going to split them between each and every team. We're going to buy more resistance bands for certain teams and new ones for our weight room. And we're going to split about 100 lacrosse balls across all of our teams. Along with the ankle braces, knee braces, and shoulder braces, we're going to put those with our athletic trainer, and she's going to have those for the kids that cannot afford to buy their own because they are really expensive. Because some kids can't afford to go and buy a $40 ankle brace for their injuries, and that makes them have to tape them every single day, which is a lot of tape. I would like to give a huge thank you to my mentor, John Blackburn. He's a physical therapist at Cox Monette. He helped me present the proper equipment for each injury we were seeing and present the correct information to go along with it. This equipment will be getting here for the 2025-2026 school year. The Aurora athletes are very excited and looking forward to being able to perform their best. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brenda Alvarez Gonzalez. I'm a senior here at Mona High School, and this is my second year at the teacher education strand of Gocaps. So today for my capstone, I did a project of building a playground at the old middle school at the east side building because I was told that they were going to tear it down and just make a parking lot for it. So I decided to talk to my mentor, which is Dr. Drake, and asked him about if I can do this project with him. What me and Dr. Drake talked about was what we were going to need for the whole building a playground. So the planning, me and Dr. Drake made a planning of like a drawing of how we were going to make the playground. And we were obviously going to have how big the playground was going to be at the box because we were also going to put sand or rocks with it and for the playground to stay there much longer to like hold. And we did designs as well of how we wanted to do this, the whole playground. The tools, and then Dr. Drake told me that we were going to have to get a permit to build all that first. Me and Dr. Drake also talked about what set of rules we were going to put on that because since it's like a public place there and it's like roads in there, there has to be someone there with those kids because every Sunday they play in the gym soccer. And they always have kids there, but they're always playing in the bleachers, so the parents are mostly not watching them. So the playground, they can just go across the street. They can play, but there obviously has to be someone there with them for them not to get hurt or anything. They can't leave their trash on the ground because there's obviously going to be like trash cans and all of that, but we just don't want anybody to litter there. There can be any kids older on the equipment because then the whole equipment will like break. My two mentors will be Dr. Drake and Miss Calvert. Dr. Drake was the one I talked mostly, and Miss Calvert will be the one that helped me talk and like plan my slides. The spending that I will be doing, the tools obviously that we were already going to be having, so there wouldn't be a lot to like spend. The people that we were going to try finding to build the whole playground, Dr. Drake said that it was going to be really hard to like find anybody to like build. So he asked me like if I knew anybody that would like build or like will like do any of that. So I contacted one of my family members that does buildings and asked my dad as well. Obviously, he did say that it depends on how hard the work they were going to do. It depends on how much they were going to pay them. And then the rocks and sand that I was talking about, $10 to $15 a ton. It depends on how much we were going to use. But I'm pretty sure that we were going to use rocks because that's what more stands on. And that's what I told my dad about because he said that's what more the equipment will stay longer. Here are some examples that me and Dr. Drake were looking through. We were mostly looking at the first one because it's smaller and it's mostly just going to be for little kids. But we are still looking, and me and Dr. Drake are still planning to think they were going to make the playground probably next year because they were going to take it down this year, but they're still thinking if we can do this next year. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carson Gates. I am a junior at Monette High School, and this is my first year in the Medicine and Healthcare strand.
Good morning. My name is Hannah Paris. I'm a junior at Monette High School. This is my first year of Gocaps, and I'm in the Teacher Ed strand. Our capstone project is Bundles of Love, Support for Foster Babies.
So what is Bundles of Love? Bundles of Love is a partnership that me and Hannah came up with local churches and local businesses to help get donations to foster babies. As you can tell by the data, 1 to 5 months and 6 to 11 months is when most babies are being removed from their home and taken into foster care, especially 6 to 11 months. As you can tell, almost 82,000 babies per year is getting removed from their homes and into foster care. With that being said, most of these cases do involve at night or in the evening, and for emergency placements, which I will get to that in the next slide, it can be very difficult for the parents to have the necessities that they need.
This project is important to us for different reasons. My mom, our mentor, Brandy Paris, is the Missouri's circuit manager. She is over at Barry, Lawrence, and Stone County and has worked with Children's Division for over 30 years. She has seen all the difficulties that foster families have faced. For this project, she has provided us with information by advising that there are over 12,000 children in Missouri's foster care and only 200 in the Barry, Lawrence, and Stone County jurisdiction.
As for me, my family is a foster care family. We've been doing this for around 2 years now. Our first placement was 2 little boys. The oldest was 5 and the youngest was 3, and they got reunited with their dad in May of 2023, which is very exciting. And then we had a 6-year-old little boy who also got reunited with his grandma. And now we have 2 little girls. The oldest is 8 and the youngest is 3. So this is actually what we call an emergency placement. So in foster care, you will get kids from your county. So my family would get kids from Barry, Lawrence, and Stone County. As for these girls, they are from all the way from Forsyth. So they are an emergency placement where they got taken from their home and they needed placement right then and there. My family then took them in from all the way from Forsyth.
Our goal was to start a partnership with local churches and Children's Division by creating a donation drive for infant supplies and diaper bags. These donations would be picked up by a charitable organization that has already partnered with Children's Division. Children's Division can't ask individuals directly for donations. However, they can contact the charitable organizations to provide what they need.
As for location, New Site was the first church that we reached out to. We called them and talked about the process and how we were going to do it. We talked about them putting them into their morning announcements and their bulletin, and us bringing in a bin with our logo on it that people can donate. As for our donation list, we have a demo bag if you guys want to look at it. It involves of a diaper bag, diapers, wipes, many travel products like lotion, shampoo, and soap, etc. Bottles, toys, and formula would be absolutely incredible if we did get that as a donation. Formula in today's day is very, very expensive, and with babies, they are not allowed to have 2% milk before the age of 1. The only milk they are allowed to have is breast milk or formula milk. So getting formula as a donation will be a great money saver and great for the family and the baby.
As Bundle of Love grows, we hope that more churches and organizations will start their own drives for the needed items for children in foster care, for whenever the foster parents and children are initially placed in the homes. This, in turn, will create a bond for the community and Children's Division and continue to keep the needs of the children in care.
As for the timeline, in the beginning when capstones were first mentioned to us, me and Hannah knew we wanted to do something with foster care. We just weren't exactly sure yet. Our next step was that we did figure out we wanted to do a donation drive. Brandy told us that with foster care, around every 3 months they normally can range from 0 babies to all the way to 15, which can be incredibly a lot and a lot of stuff that they do need. We did set up the donation date for just 3 months. And then we did start to call churches. New Site, like I said, was our first church that we called. And then we did possible collaboration, so we started calling other churches and other local businesses to try to get involved, which they did seem to really love our idea. And now we are presenting this to other people to get them involved as well.
Thank you for allowing us to present this project. We hope you found it informative and understand its purpose. If you or your church are interested in participating in Bundles of Love, please reach out to our mentor by calling the number on the screen. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Allison Barnes. I'm a junior at Mount Vernon High School, and I'm currently in the Medicine and Healthcare strand at Gocaps. Today, I'm here to present to you my capstone. This is a project I've been working on for a very long time, and I'm so excited for this opportunity to tell you about my project that I call Make a List. Growing up in Mount Vernon, Missouri, I noticed that people struggle in so many different ways. They might struggle physically, financially, or maybe even mentally. They might struggle with something small, like not being able to mow their lawn or pick up their groceries. Or maybe they struggle with something big, like maybe they can't get into their home because they don't have a ramp. Or maybe they can't take a shower because their shower is not wheelchair accessible. People struggle in so many different ways, which means that they need to have a solution that covers so many different categories. These solutions can be fairly small, like just loaning them money to complete a task. Or maybe they need to be something big, like you coming in there and building a ramp or remodeling their bathroom. They just need help in so many different ways. Noticing all these problems and how easy the solutions are, I decided that I wanted to do something about it. So about a year ago, I created Make a List. I noticed that people were struggling in my community, and I wanted to do something about it. The first thing I did when I created this project was I created a mission statement. And for my mission statement, I decided to say that Make a List strives to help the people of rural Missouri by supplying the tools necessary for success. I wanted to emphasize that we are supplying the tools, but not doing it for them. The thing I love most about Make a List is that we help with anything. We do have a list of tasks, but anything they need, we can do. Since I created this project before Gocaps, I knew I wanted to use the tools and resources that I have to make it even better, to help even more people. And so I decided to brainstorm ways that I could do this. And I came up with the idea of partnering with local hospitals. Doing so combines my two passions, which is healthcare, where I want to be a doctor someday, and my project, where I want to make a difference. And so I came up with the idea of partnering with Mercy Aurora and Cox Monette. At Cox Monette, I worked with Heidi Clark, in which we brainstormed ways to implement it into their hospital. We came up with the idea of adding it to their pamphlet that they give to patients, listing the tasks or the services that other nonprofit organizations offer to help them out. At Mercy Aurora, I worked with many different people, and we're currently brainstorming ways to implement it into their hospital. Hopefully, they will present to the hospital board soon to get permission to do this project. So as you can see here, it's a poster that we give to clients or maybe post on windows. It kind of outlines what the company is and what we do. We have our mission statement, a little slogan, and what all of the services that we offer. So overall, this project was fairly easy to implement. The first step was coming up with a solution, which it was so easy because the solution is basically anything they need. The next step was when I created the brand. I created the logo, the posters, everything that represents the company. I gave a face to the company. Then, about a year later, I came up with the idea of partnering with the hospitals, and that's what I'm currently working on now. I have it fully implemented at Cox, and hopefully it'll soon be implemented at Mercy. And then, at the end of every project, we always complete the task. So while it was fairly easy, we still ran into many different problems. The first of which being the safety of volunteers. You cannot always ensure safety, especially when working in people's homes. But to prevent it for the most part, we always screen our clients to make sure they don't have any large criminal backgrounds. And we always work in groups so things are less likely to happen. Another problem that is something more for the future is funding. So far, our projects have been fairly easy, in which we haven't had to require any major fundraising to raise the money. But in the future, we might have to fundraise. Another problem I ran into when working with the hospital is HIPAA. HIPAA is a privacy agreement between the hospital and its patients. It states that they will not send out patient information if they don't want it. So to work around it, I have to have people reach out to me, which is where we run into our last problem, which is building connections. Many people don't want to ask for help. They want to be independent, or they have guilt. They don't want anybody to come in and help them. It's especially common in the older generation. And that's something that you can't really solve. It's not something you can work around. Instead, you just have to hope that they will someday reach out for help. Lastly, I would like to say a big thank you to my mentors. They helped me with everything. They were a big role in this project, and it would not have been possible without them. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Jessica, Jennifer, and Drew for helping me out with this project. Make a list is something that means so much to me. It's something that I've been working on for a very long time, and it's something that I hope will have a big future. And I hope that maybe one day Make a List can help everyone in rural Missouri live the lives they deserve. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Karel Marbit, and I'm in the teacher education strand of Gocaps, and I'm a junior here at Monet High School. And today, my capstone is about allowing out-of-school campus lunch. So first off, I would like to start by thanking my mentors. A special thanks to Miss Gina Tarte from Clayton High School in Clayton, Missouri. She was the only teacher in the school that responded to me out of the 3 to 4 schools that do out-of-school campus lunch here in Missouri. And she was able to give me their little paper about how they allow out-of-school campus lunch and all the rules and policies they have about it. And so that gave me advice. And I would also appreciate Dr. Isaac Suter and Miss Jessica McNichols for giving me advice and questions and the importance of like risks and all that stuff. Off-campus lunch offers students a chance to learn valuable life skills like budgeting, time management, and decision making, and it'll prepare them for their college and career, so like in the future, because they'll have breaks and all that. Oh, and actually I have personal experience about out-of-school campus lunch, because in the Philippines, when I was going to school there, we would have a lunch break, and so we would be able to go out of school, or if you brought your lunch, you can eat it in school, and our parents would be able to bring school lunch to us too and like eat with them. And sometimes the teachers sell food too, and it's kind of different though, but so that's my experience. And while off-campus lunch has its benefits, there are important concerns to address. Some students may engage in risky behavior, like there could be a car accident and other issues, and some students might not be able to afford the food that they'll get like out of school, and so they could be like feel left out, and the risk of being late to class and them getting a tardy or they could just end up skipping school, and and riding with like unsafe individuals or with someone that doesn't have a license or permit could also raise further safety concerns. To promote safety and fairness with off-campus lunch, schools can implement measures like requiring parental consent. So like before the beginning of school, teachers can have this little contract of allowing their students to leave out of school for lunch and to make sure they have a license. And this would only be for juniors and seniors. And for and collaborating with local businesses for student discounts can make meals more affordable for the students that can't really afford. Students who prefer to stay and bring lunch can also like maybe go to the park or eat lunch with their friends or whatever. And yeah. In conclusion, off-campus lunch allows more students freedom and better meal options and helps them develop important life skills. With the right rules from the school, it can turn out to a privilege that promotes responsibility and fairness. Thank you for listening.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Jones. I'm a junior at Mount Vernon High School. This is my first year in the medicine and healthcare strand of Gocaps, and this is my presentation on seatbelt safety. Every year, there's a significant amount of children deaths caused by car accidents every year. 59% of those children are not wearing seatbelts, and 40% are. Here are some seatbelt death statistics. 1,130 children under the age of 14 die every year. Over 160,000 are injured, which averages about to 445 deaths per day. When we were first given this idea of a capstone, I wanted to do something that involved teaching young children and teaching them about safety. So I got to thinking about my life and my family and something that would affect my siblings. I'm the oldest in my family, so it is super important to me that all young children know the importance of seatbelt safety. I want to set a positive example for all young children and to leave a powerful impact on my community. My goal is to educate young children on the importance of seatbelt safety. I feel like when children are young, they aren't always taught the importance of seatbelt safety. They often follow the example of their siblings and their parents. If they do not wear their seatbelts, then they think it's okay to not. I want to give them the background knowledge to teach them their consequences and to hopefully do the right thing. I want to leave them with something that they will always remember and can pass on to others. So my first step was to contact Nicole Coffey, who is the Monette Early Childhood School Counselor. Her job is to see every kindergarten and preschool class once a week. Every week she teaches them something different that is very impactful and very interactive. Her and I developed a schedule. I came in every day to meet with all of the different classes. Every day I would teach from 9 to 10. Each class was about 30 minutes long, and there was 3 classes every day. Altogether, there was 220 students. I had a PowerPoint called Boost Your Rooster Safety Course. It was super kid-friendly and very interactive. The kids were super involved. Every time there was a rooster on the screen, they would say, "Buckle up." We also talked about the 4 most important things about seatbelt safety, which is to always wear your seatbelt correctly, always sit in the back seat, and to always have your own seatbelt and to always buckle up. There were several things we got to say together to hopefully help them remember things a little better. There were some clips and videos. The kids got to watch what actually happens in a car accident, and they really loved that. I think it really puts things in perspective that this is serious and it's not funny. At the end, the kids were given a certificate that they wrote their names on that stated that they will always wear their seatbelt and they will always sit in the back seat. They were also given a coloring sheet that they got to take home. In conclusion, I hope to have a powerful impact on all young children in my community that they will always remember and can pass on to others. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lily Burke. I'm a junior from Mount Vernon High School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maya Bray. I am a junior from Mount Vernon High School. We are both first-year students in the Medicine and Healthcare strand. This is our capstone about a personal panic button. First off, we just want to say a huge thank you to these three amazing people that have helped mentor us and guide us through this project. First, we have Drew Forsman. He is the executive assistant and project coordinator. Next, we have Jessica Banks, the Infection and Prevention and Education Coordinator. And last, we have Kim Jurek, who is the Emergency Department Manager. Once again, we just want to say a huge thank you for all of their time and effort that have helped put in this project. We got this idea from Cox South when we shadowed them our first semester in Gocaps. They had a little button on their badge, and we asked them what it was for, and they informed us that if a patient was getting too violent or inappropriate, that they can press the button and it alerts their security. We really liked this idea for our capstone, so we decided to get all of the information from Cox South, and we presented it to Drew from Aurora. Our overall problem. So I got the experience to shadow Drew in my first semester of Gocaps, and we got to talking about how they have limited security during the day. Also, according to Kim, the emergency department manager, she informed us that they have had multiple attacks in the emergency department. Having these attacks and limited security, that can increase the risk of safety and staff and the patients.
So a survey was given to a group of nurses over the course of 2023, and 46% said that it had increased workplace violence, which is very unfortunate, and then 4% said it decreased. And this is important because the Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported that healthcare workers are 5 times more likely to experience workplace violence. Going along with that, 97% of nurses reported that in working in a healthcare facility for 2 years, they had experienced either harassment, verbal or physical assault, or intimidation. And this is more prevalent in the emergency department because usually if you're in the emergency room, you're in a stressful situation. Going along with that, there could be language barriers or just a long wait time. So this is a crime grade, and what this is just how common violent crime is in a city. And specifically in Cassville, St. Francis, and Aurora, they have a D+ crime grade. And this is very concerning because if Springfield feels the need to have a personal panic button, they have a D crime grade. So if they have a D crime grade, then why not have personal panic buttons in areas that have almost the same crime grade? So Aurora is safer than 24% of cities in Aurora. Aurora is safer than 24% of cities in Missouri and more dangerous than 76%. According to KY3, in 2022, Aurora's drug arrest had went up by 160%. And if you are on the north side of Aurora, you have a 75% chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime, versus on the west side, you only have a 30% chance.
Here are some goals that we would like to achieve with this project. First, we would like to start out in the emergency department where most of these incidents have occurred. We would like to see how everything is working and then eventually branch out into other departments. For example, we were thinking labor and delivery would be the next department we would focus on because it is such a high monitored area. We also just want to help the employees feel safer in their workspace. No one wants to go to their job where they love and feel unsafe or unprotected. Right now, there is a stationary button in the emergency department in Aurora Mercy that is at the nurse's desk. But when the stationary button is pushed, it only alerts Drew, who is the executive assistant, and the maintenance crew. Which is also why we just want to increase the response time, because when you are in a stressful or violent situation, every second is crucial. So what is a personal panic button? We were informed by Drew that Mercy Lebanon uses these fobs. This picture is an example of the fobs that they use. These fobs have a battery that will last about a year long, and when the battery needs to be changed, it takes a CR2034 lithium battery. These fobs are very lightweight and can be carried around easily and more accessible in a time of panic. They can be carried around like a lanyard or even put in a pocket. And who would keep up with the maintenance of this button is IT.
So some of these small hospitals have already taken safety precautions. So I know Aurora has a stationary button that is either mounted to the wall or the nurse's station. I know Caswell's in the process of getting one, and St. Francis does not have anything of that sort. So why a portable button is more effective than a stationary one is because imagine you're in a room with a patient and you shut the door behind you because of HIPAA, and they start intimidating you or harassing you. You're not going to have time to go press the stationary button, versus if you had a portable button, you'd be able to press it and it would alert someone in Springfield and they would dispatch Aurora Police Department. So some problems we face is definitely the financial aspect of it. So Aurora has a capital fund, and what that means is that any request put over $5,000 will go into this fund, and it gets checked quarterly, and basically priority gets the funding. So I know Aurora had an x-ray machine that took over a year to get fixed, but recently they had a boiler go out and that only took 3 days. Another issue that we're facing is Wi-Fi and systems. So Aurora Mercy is an older facility, so they do not have the most modern technology. So we'd have to find a portable button that's compatible with their system that they currently have. Another problem is patient security. So we'd have to get a system that's not easily hacked. So there's something called HIPAA, which is Health Insurance and Accountability Act of 1996. And basically what this does is it ensures that patient confidentiality is not leaked. And so they have a rule called the breach rule, and if we got a system that was easily hacked, it would be breaking that. So I just want to say thank you for coming and listening to our presentation. This project means a lot to me and Maya because this directly impacts our future, because one day we will be the healthcare providers working in a rural hospital, and we hope that this raises the awareness that this topic needs. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maylee Albert. I am a junior at Pierce City High School, and I am a first-year student in the Medicine and Healthcare strand. This is my capstone about flower beds at the Animal Clinic in Monette. So, first you might be wondering, how does this apply to you? So I would like to be a large animal vet, and I have recently had an externship with the Animal Clinic in Monette, in which I was there for a whole week, kind of interacting with the veterinarians, along with getting to know the practice manager. When I talked to her more about things that might want to be done at the clinic to improve the revenue and the overall appearance, she said the flower bed. So this flower bed had some things wrong with it, and my motivation was to create a more appealing look to it and give a more cheerful aspect to it. So problems I faced with this project was that invasive plants were taking over the flower bed. The brick lining was shifted, and which created a boundary for the plants from either cars pulling too far forward or even backing up into them. The drainage line flooded the flower beds with excess rainwater, along with lack of colorful flowers. So the invasive plants. Why are we getting rid of the invasive plants? The root systems are quite expansive, and they require more space than is given to them in the flower beds. The roots are very expansive, also have no room to grow, and they're straining the growth of any other plant that's trying to grow within that flower bed. So getting rid of it. I have 3 possible options that I could do with these expansive roots. I could pull them, spray weed killer, or even annually trim them. The most cost-effective way to get rid of these would be to pull the plants. As having the weed killer be sprayed, it would be a monthly, if not bi-weekly, product that would have to be done. Along with being annually trimmed, these plants grow very fast, along with having the very expansive root systems that are going to grow outside of the parking lot, which is going to be an almost every other week trim. I then have the brick lining. So why is this brick lining so important? It creates a boundary for all the flowers along with the weeds that are being grown in there to allow them not to grow into the parking lot nor onto the patio. So the problem why I have to be fixing this brick lining is because cars again are pulling way too far forward or backing up into them, thus loosening the glue in which the brick lining was placed, so it needs to be moved back into the original place. So what do I need to do? I need to move the bricks back into the original place and glue them. My third problem, the drainage line. The drainage line connects to the gutter, in which whenever it rains, the excess water is then flooding the flower beds and killing all the plants that are in there. My options, get rid of it completely and move it to another side, or reroute it. Moving the drainage line completely would mean putting it on the opposite end of the animal clinic, which would then flood the panels and the large animal aspect that's in there. So I decided to just reroute it, in which I placed it underneath the dirt so that way I could put the dirt along with the mulch on top of it to plant my new flowers. The lack of colorful flowers. Why is there a lack of colorful flowers? Because the expansive root system is killing every plant that is trying to grow within there. So what do? I'm just going to plant new flowers to draw more attention to the animal clinic in Monette and create a more appealing look. So with plants, there can be very poisonous plants and safe plants. Ensuring that animals are going to not get into plants is a very hard task. Animals can easily get off their leash and eat plants they shouldn't eat. So some of the poisonous plants that I have researched are castor bean, ivy, aloe, and sago palm. Now you might be wondering, why are they so poisonous to animals? So castor bean has a toxic substance in which causes kidney failure. Ivy contains heterogenein causing abdominal issues. Aloe has purgatives in which cause gastrointestinal problems, along with sago palm that has a root concentration causing neurological issues such as fatigue, lethargy, seizures, and much more, and at a very severe case, possibly even death. When talking to my mentor, she really wanted to bring more colorful features such as red, orange, and yellow. Now these plants I have researched typically come in red, orange, and yellow, along with being safe for animals to digest if possible, if they get off their leash and eat these plants. So some of them are marigolds, dahlias, snapdragons, and calendulas. So the progress. What is my progress so far? I spent 2 hours one morning pulling all the expansive weeds, rerouting the drainage system, along with moving the bricks back into their original place. So what is my next step? My next step is I want to rake up all the old mulch, put new dirt in there, along with planting new flowers. Now, as we all know, Missouri weather can be quite unpredictable, so I have to wait till the last freeze to ensure these flowers are going to have a long life, along with being very healthy. Now, I've talked a little bit about my mentor, but I would really like to go a little bit more into what she's done for me. So my mentor was Amy McKee. She's the practice manager at Animal Clinic in Monette. She's completed an associate's in art. She's in progress of obtaining a bachelor's in biology, along with a minor in geospatial sciences. She's really helped me along with this entire project as far as bringing up ideas as what I can do, things that she might want, the space that was given to me and how much room I have, the room that needs to be planted between each flowers, and just the overall appearance. So with this project, I really want to create a clean appearance, as bringing your animal into the vet might not be your best day. It might come out with conclusions that you may not have even expected. So I really want to bring a more cheerful and colorful aspect to the clinic to almost cheer up their day and just give them something to look forward to. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sunny Winfrey, and I'm a senior at Monette High School in the Medicine and Healthcare strand of Gocaps. And I'm so excited to share with you all my project that has meant so much to me over the course of the last few months. This is Canvas of Care, sharing patient art with veterans. From a young age, I have always loved volunteering at nursing homes. My cousin and I, at ages 9 and 10, would host craft days for the residents at Wacoba, a local nursing home here in Monette. So as we started touring the veteran home in Mount Vernon as a Gocaps class, it reminded me of this passion I have. Then, as we started shadowing different medical fields, I found that I loved occupational therapy, and I knew that for my capstone, I wanted to incorporate these two passions. As I thought back to our tour of the Mount Vernon Veteran Home, I remembered that there were drawings and colorings taped on the wall to celebrate Veterans Day that came from elementary school students. This made me realize that veterans only really receive outreach during holidays and not on a regular basis. Then, as I started shadowing more of the occupational therapy in the pediatric setting, I realized that some of the activities they do mainly went through coloring. So as I went through and thought of what I could do, my solution to the veteran home was to provide the colorings that the pediatric occupational therapy patients were doing and give them to the veterans. This led me to my first mentor. This is David Kloppenberg. He's over the volunteer services at the veteran home, and he helped me become a volunteer and also forwarded my questions to the social workers and made sure they made time to fill them out. When I asked the social workers why my project might be needed, they told me that the veterans love outreach from the youth, whether it's youth groups coming to perform or even kids just trick-or-treating, and even they just love talking about their grandkids. So as I thought about what I could do for this, they also told me how just any outreach could also help them be more cheerful and help their memory while also helping with the effects of loneliness, which are linked to depression. I asked what the effects of depression look like in the nursing home, and they told me that they are low mood, lack of participation and interaction, poor appetite, uncooperativeness with care, anger, and just overall health decline. With over 40% of veterans not receiving regular outreach, I realized that my project could be helpful. Finding an occupational therapist to be my next mentor was a struggle that I encountered during this project. I originally thought that I was going to work with the occupational therapist that I was shadowing in Mercy Aurora, but then I realized that I would not be able to do this because they are currently working with 5 different clinics, one being new, and putting in 12-hour work days. With the national shortage of occupational therapists, I knew I had to find somewhere else so I wouldn't overwhelm them. As I was trying to find a solution, I was talking to my counselors, and Sergeant Crawley, our school resource, our school National Guard recruiter, overheard me, and he told me that his wife is an occupational therapist and gave me her contact information. This is Adrienne Crawley. She works for Imagine Therapies in Arkansas and got her Master's of Occupational Therapy at Central Arkansas University. She's been working as a pediatric occupational therapist for 18 years and is specialized in sensory processing disorders and has been working with kids for around 18 years. She helped me by collecting all the drawings and pictures that her patients did and gave them to me so that I could give them to the veterans. I asked her why coloring, why does this help with motor skill development? She explained to me that with kids, their pediatric and their occupational therapy looks a little bit different than compared to the normal occupational therapy. Their day-to-day skills consist of school, play, and getting dressed. So some skills that are needed for this are handwriting, coloring, and manipulation of scissors, zippers, and buttons. So if a child has weak finger muscles, they won't be able to fulfill all of these activities, and in cases with school, they can't hold handwriting utensils for a very long time, so they'll fall behind their peers. So to outweigh these negative outcomes, they do coloring with crowns instead of markers so that they can increase their finger strength faster. And this helps because with coloring, it's doing it through play, which kids learn 4 times faster through. So on your left is Chloe here. She is around 3, and then going down the ages range to about 7. It's comparable from top to bottom with about a month's difference to show the progress. Some ways that the OTs determine progress are if how many breaks were taken, if they had to switch hands, if they have an age-appropriate graphs, how many deviations they had, and how many verbal cues were needed for them to look back at the paper. This simple activity goes over many deficits at once, such as fine motor endurance, hand dominance, attention, and visual motor skills. This was one of my favorite parts of my project. Being able to deliver these results and these colorings to the veterans was so fun. They would tell me about their grandkids, how some of them were in occupational therapy, and they would explain to me how much it meant to them and would ask about the kids who made these. And then they would tell me to follow them as they went to hang up the drawings in their room. I knew after seeing these results that I wanted them to last. But as I was thinking how I could make them last, this was another difficulty I crossed. Mrs. Crawley only works with around 9 patients a day, and there would be 40 needed drawings every month. And so I realized that this wouldn't be possible. And so instead, I gave her the fax number to the veteran home so that she could collect the drawings whenever she wanted and whenever she could, and give them over to the veterans whenever it was possible. Overall, I learned that as I begin my career as an occupational therapist, that I can always outreach the community to try to make it better and help others. Thank you.
I hope you all feel as confident as I do that we will be in very good hands with the next generation of workforce, won't we? Great job, students. This is something that they have been working a lot of different durable skills to achieve. This was a day they have been very anxious and nervous about, but I think we can all agree y'all nailed it. You did great. Congratulations on great projects. So now we invite you, if you would like, stay and visit with our students, ask them some good questions about their projects, about their challenges, and enjoy the rest of your morning. Thank you.